Welcome back. King Boston is a program of the Boston Foundation working with the City of Boston to create a living memorial honoring Dr. King and Coretta Scott King. Joining me now is Amari Parrish Jeffries. He's the Executive Director of King Boston. Welcome. Amari, give us an update on the progress of plans for the monument on Boston Common that's called The Embrace. How are things going?
Karen, it's Happy New Year. First of all, it's so great to see you. Anytime I could get together with you, is always going to be a great day. And especially during these times, every time we get to connect with folks, it's a blessing. And so it's so great to be here. We are underway. We are about 365 days away from unveiling the Embrace, and so the plan is to have the Embrace unveiled next Dr. King weekend. On that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And so we're so excited to be constructing it right now, building it. You should start seeing some construction happening in the Commons starting this summer. And so it's a very exciting time in the city.
Great. That's great news. Amari, people may not know that King Boston's work involves more than just building the monument. How has the organization furthered the goal of honoring the King's work in the community this past year?
I think the pandemic has really brought out a need to articulate the message and the legacy of Dr. and Mrs. King. And so King Boston has emerged in this time. And so when you think about building a monument and memorial in a city, it is a representation of values, right? And so when Mayor Mitch Landrieu, the former mayor of New Orleans, talked about dismantling the statues of the Confederacy, he understood that those statues represented oppression. They represented a lack of opportunity for people of color. Mm-hmm. And so what does it mean to build a monument and memorial for Dr. and Mrs. King in Boston, in America's oldest public park? It has to be values of inclusion. It has to be values of civil rights, social justice. It has to be values of anti-racism. And so that's the exciting part of building this memorial. We knew that building the memorial required us to put our shoulder into these values. And so alongside of the memorial, there's the Center for Economic Justice, which is a research center. It is a museum. It's a public gathering place to continue the legacy and the work that's occurred over the last 2 years around anti-racism.
So Amari, just very quickly, can you tell our audience how they can support the work of King Boston?
The best way to find us is online, kingboston.org, or find us on social media, on Twitter, kingboston11. That is our handle. And so excited to connect with everyone and get everyone involved in the Commonwealth into this great project.
Amari Parrish Jeffries, good to see you today. Thanks for being here.
Great seeing you too.
Boston is a very special place to celebrate Dr. King's life and legacy, and he considered Boston his second home. And after all, it's where young Martin Luther King Jr. met the woman who would become his wife. He was earning his doctorate in theology at Boston University, and Coretta Scott was earning her degree at the New England Conservatory of Music. You can learn about their love story in a documentary called Legacy of Love, narrated by Reverend Liz Walker.
Meanwhile, Martin is dating some nice young women, but none of them, he feels, is suitable for the role of pastor's wife. So, a mutual friend makes a suggestion. Mary Powell, like Martin, a member of Atlanta's Black elite, is a classmate of Coretta's at New England Conservatory and also works at 12th Baptist Church. She knows that Coretta and Martin are both serious-minded, politically progressive, and have powerful personalities. But sparks do not fly on Martin and Coretta's first date.
For their first date in January, Coretta waited in the cold outside the New England Conservatory. Martin pulled his car up to the curb and greeted her. She noticed how short he was. He didn't have the bearing of a full-grown man. Coretta didn't know that Martin's mustache, which he usually wore to make him look more mature, had been shaved off while he pledged the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Their first date ended with a surprise. At a stoplight, Martin turned to Coretta and said she was just the kind of woman he wanted to marry.
The story goes that Martin knows from the beginning that this woman from Alabama is the wife for him. Coretta, not so much.
What woman wouldn't have been taken aback by a proposal on a first date?
Despite Coretta's misgivings, they continue dating, including walks along the seashore, a concert at Symphony Hall, her attending his sermons and him attending her recitals.
And joining me is filmmaker and producer Roberto Mairi. That clip we just watched is called First Date, and it's a dramatic reenactment of Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott's first date in Boston. Well done. Let's talk about the places where their story unfolded.
Wow, thank you so much for having me on. And yeah, they were two young, beautiful young people who met each other, were introduced by a mutual friend, and they went all over Boston. They lived in the South End. She lived on Beacon Hill. They went to places like Symphony Hall on a date. They strolled along Revere Beach on a date. And all the kinds of places that, in fact, probably people go on dates now.
So what inspired you to make the film, and why is it relevant today?
I was inspired by the fact that my cohort, the people who went to college, the African-American students who came to college here in Boston in the 70s, I don't know if we would have been able to go to college in these kinds of numbers if it hadn't been for the sacrifice and the leadership and example of people like the Kings. You know, they were obviously deeply involved in the civil rights movement, along with other people around the country. But Boston had a lot of wonderful civil rights leaders. This comes out in the film as well. So these people were giants. And I was so honored to have the opportunity to work on this, especially with someone as distinguished, professional, and wonderful as Reverend Liz Walker. It was really a pleasure.
We love Liz. And in fact, Roberto, you interviewed people who worked with, went to school with, and even dated Coretta Scott and Martin Luther King Jr. in the early 50s for this film. What did they share about the couple?
Oh, people will have to watch the film to get the good stuff. No, you know, again, I wanted to humanize them. These are two human people. And I noticed that young people seem to sort of see them as these distant historical figures, right? But I grew up in a time when we could see these people on television and so forth, and we are a bit more aware that they were human. So I found a gentleman who dated Coretta Scott, and a woman, and I found a woman in California who was a freshman at Radcliffe, a Black woman who dated King, and they said that they were deeply impressed in every way by each one. No surprise.
And I'm sure that the film has lots of other great surprises that people will have to watch. So, Roberto, people can go to your website. Give us your website to tell us how people can get a hold of the film.
Good. RobertoMairi.com. And they can learn it there. And of course, it'll be on WGBH starting next Wednesday for about 6 straight days, the various times. So check your local listings.
All right. Thank you so much, Roberto Mairi, for joining us. And thanks to all of you for watching. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Cityline 5. And you can follow me on Twitter at Karen Holmes Ward. Have a good afternoon. Take care. Be well.